Well, like they said, my name's Kiara. I hope everyone's having a good morning. I'm so excited to be here, and we're waiting for my slides to come up here, down here on the sling. But what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today is how to leverage social media and how I built a personal brand and scaled, my company by leveraging social media. Awesome. So how to increase your income and your impact by building a strong personal brand. Who's ready? Let's hear it. Awesome. So just a little bit about me. They did intro me. Thank you for that warm introduction. I have 2 bachelors. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college. And I tell you this because I used to have this self-limiting belief that you had to come from wealth in order to achieve a certain level of success. And social media really just changed my life. It was a free platform that I hopped on, over a decade ago and really started leveraging everything that it had to offer. So today I'm going to show you guys how you can build your personal brand using social media and really create an impact in this world. And I want to inspire you all. So once you've found your own voice, the choice to expand your influence, to increase your contribution, is the choice to inspire others to find their voice. And that's what I'm most passionate about. I come from the journalism, broadcast marketing background, and my passion is to help other people get their voice out there, get their mission out there. So today I want to inspire you all to find your own voice. Well, you just saw my whole presentation. So today we're going to be covering a few things. We're going to be covering, how to build your personal brand. Let's go back so you guys can get a visual. And it comes down to 4 frameworks. So the first thing is going to be, what is a personal brand? We're going to talk about what is a brand and how do you get started. Why is it important? And then how to identify your brand or identify your why. And then how you can start building your brand today. So those are the 4 things. You guys can take a picture of this, write down those notes. Those are going to be the key nuggets and takeaways from today. So what is a personal brand? It's essentially your reputation. And as you all know, it takes years to build a reputation, but it takes seconds to destroy it. So how do we navigate this beast of a concept? How are we going to post something that's bold enough without getting canceled? And so I'm going to give you some safe ways to make an impact in this industry and build your reputation online. And you're going to have 3 frameworks within this. So number 1 is it has to be unique to you. A lot of people struggle with finding their uniqueness, but I'm going to give you a tip to get started today and show your face because everyone has something unique to offer this world. Second is it must add value. If you're not adding value, you're not going to have a loyal following and people that want to learn from you. And 3 is the content that you put out there must be an attraction model. So those are the 3 key takeaways. It's unique to you, it adds value, and it attracts the right audience. So why is this important? People are like, okay, yeah, social media takes a lot of time, but is it really worth my time and energy? Well, the first thing is it can bring awareness to your why, and everyone has a different why. For me personally, I'm really passionate about bringing sustainable communities to developing countries. I've traveled all over the world and I've just seen levels of poverty most people will never see. I mean, we're talking people that are urinating in buckets, living in mud huts, and to me, as a human, we have to take care of other people. So if we can bring sustainable solutions to these communities so they can access clean water, food, that is my personal why. And we do that through setting ourselves apart and attracting different sales talent. So what makes us unique and sets us apart is the agents at my brokerage, we all sell virtually. So we don't have any door knockers or in-home closers, although they can choose to do that if they'd like. But we put a high emphasis on learning how to sell virtually so that we can impact more lives. We can talk to people all across the country because we're presenting the value of solar from Zoom. And this allows us to fund our purpose, which again, the whole point of social media in today's day, which we'll talk about a little bit more, is not about just being cool and having an influence, but it's to drive revenue for your purpose. So throughout this conversation, you're going to hear me talking about funding your purpose and how I use social media to fund specific goals in our company. So in February, we had 28 days, and I'm from California. Raise your hand if you're from California, or Southern California, if you blitzed out there. Okay, I can see a few of you. So we had a huge boom with NEM 2.0. I say it was one of the best solar booms we've had in solar, and we're gonna have an even bigger boom with 3.0. And so there was a lot of energy going around about people inquiring about solar as far as the homeowners. And so what I did is I took to social media. Now, I want to get a pulse. How many of you guys are active on Instagram? Please stand up if you guys have an Instagram account. I want to see who here has Instagram. Okay, stand up, stand up, stand up. Okay, now stay standing if you guys also have a Facebook and you are actively posting on Facebook. So once a month, that's our baseline. If you're posting once a month on Instagram and Facebook, and then please sit down if you are not active, and we're going to show you how to become more active. Okay, great. Now, third is if you are active on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Okay, a lot of you, yep, I knew I'd get you guys there, okay. And then if you are active on those platforms I mentioned, plus you send out email marketing every month, once a month. Sit down, okay, losing a few, okay. Those are you that are standing, stay standing if you're doing all those platforms that I mentioned, plus sending out text campaigns once a month to your audience. Awesome. So everyone who's sitting down, take a look around at the people that are standing. These are the people you should be connecting with this week. These are the people that are doing the activities to build a strong personal brand. These are also the people that are recruiting your sales talent, and they're getting in front of your homeowners. So take note of these people. Thank you, guys. You can have a seat. And these are all the activities that I have been doing that led up to the results here. So in February, 28 days, we had this boom. I took to an app called Nextdoor. Raise your hand if you guys know what Nextdoor is. Okay, cool. So basically, for those of you that don't know, Nextdoor is a platform where homeowners or people that live in a certain community can talk with each other. And I went on there and I searched a keyword, solar, and I searched SoCal Edison. That's the area I primarily focus on. And I wanted to just see what people were saying during this NEM 2.0, and there was a lot of questions about why they should do it, why they shouldn't. And all I did was start providing knowledge. So I wasn't going in and direct messaging these people saying, hey, get a solar quote. I was simply linking to articles on the rate increase, linking to news articles on our website, giving them more information on why they should get solar now and not wait. And it started to have this snowball effect. So I generated $158,000 in commissions for the month of February. No ads, no setters, nothing like that, just strictly using all these social media sites. And so what happened, and you guys can do it too, so I'm gonna give you the secret here. So what happened was it started with one person saying, hey, can I talk to you about this? Sure. I set up a Zoom call the following week because that's how busy my schedule got. And I hopped on there, did an hour presentation, and I really just showed them the math. I mean, we all know that solar is the easiest thing in the world to sell. We're selling savings, we're selling value, we're selling ownership. People already bought into that when they buy a home. So my job's not to convince them of anything, it's just to show them the math. And so I went through that whole presentation, they signed up, and then this is where the magic happened. I said, if you enjoyed our conversation today and you found a lot of value in what I had to say, will you do me a favor? I'm gonna send you a picture of a screenshot of your tax credit and of your savings. Will you post this on Nextdoor and just say a few words about why you went with us? And so one person did that. And then I got another client, and then soon enough, I was booking 2 weeks out, and it was just like back-to-back Zoom calls. And so you can do that with this app Nextdoor. Find a community that you want to target, build your brand, get your face on there. Don't be like a guerrilla marketing and start blasting everyone. Just be a resource of knowledge. We're going to talk about different types of content that get people to come to you and are attracted to you, and educational content is my favorite. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So we did that on Nextdoor, and then my team and I also went to Facebook and other chat groups. Another good tip when you're asking for referrals, which is the key to this, in selling virtually, you gotta be good at getting referrals. I told my clients, I said, hey, instead of giving my phone number to the person you're thinking of referring me to, just introduce me via text so I can track your referral bonus. We'll give you $1,000. So that's how you're going to get the phone number, and then you can follow up with that prospect. So with Nextdoor, the last thing on this that was really cool is we gamified the referral experience. And so because all of these neighbors know each other and they're on this app, it became a competition on who they could refer to me first. They're like, oh, well, I referred Johnny first. It's like, well, no, technically, Susie referred Johnny first. So it became really fun and good banter online. And you want to build those relationships. That's how you have a sustainable career. And it's going to have a snowball effect. So I did that with my personal book of business. And then if you guys follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or some of my sites, you're going to see I post a lot of educational content. With a journalism news background, that's always been my passion, is to do research, translate that research into layman terms so that the common man, if you will, can understand it. And so what I did was I started posting this educational content, and it started attracting installers to reach out to me and want us to sell their products or services that they offer, which then attracted the sales talent. And then it attracted brand partnerships, speaking gigs like this one, and other opportunities. So it doesn't happen overnight. I've been building my brand, if you will, for almost 10 years. But it does pay off. You have to be consistent and you have to be patient. So just remember that. It's also kind of like, I was thinking about this last night. When you're playing Mario Kart and you're driving, you hit a banana, you spin out. Okay, you gotta get back on the road. Then you hit a boost, and then you go really fast, and then you go a little crazy. Hit another banana. That's kind of how social media is. You'll have waves where you just take off. You meet the right people, and then you'll kind of have these dull times where you're like, okay, what's next? But the thing here is you have to be consistent and you have to be patient and just keep putting in the work. So you're probably wondering, okay, great, I'm committed to building my brand. Now, how do I get started? So it's going to come down to those three things: your uniqueness, your values, and your contributions. So for your uniqueness, a lot of people struggle with this, but here's a tip to be unique. Just get on camera. Not a single one of your faces are identical. So by you just getting on camera, you're automatically checking that box of being unique. Number 2 is your values. So what this means is, what do you value as a person? What is important to you? What code of ethics do you live by? What are things that are important to you? So for me personally, giving back to my reps, making sure they know they're taken care of, spending time with my family, and then traveling the world and experiencing new cultures. Those are things that I value. And so when people, follow me on social media, if they value those same things, they're going to relate to me, and that's what you want to do. You want to build relationships online and create value. And then contributions. So we're going to talk about, reinforcement, but your contributions are basically, what are you contributing out to the world that is going to have people coming back for more? I see a lot of people posting their exotic cars and their fancy watches, and those things are awesome. I'm all about buying trophies that represent your success. But you posting your exotic car is not going to help someone else afford that car. You might motivate them, you might put a little fire under their ass, but it's not going to teach them how to afford that car. So post the car, but maybe in the comments, talk about the disciplines that you have in your life that afford you that nice car, that nice watch, or that trip. That's the value. People want to know how you got to that level of success. So behavioral reinforcement. My psychology background loves the science of behavior, and reinforcement is something I really focus on a lot. And basically what it is a response to someone's behavior that is intended to make that person more likely to behave that way again. So a simple example of this is I put out a challenge to my audience. I said, hey, for door knockers, if you guys are setting appointments in home, I want to encourage you to do everything you're doing, but change one sentence in your pitch. And that is, instead of, hey, I'll be back here tomorrow at 5, I want you to say, hey, I'm going to send you a Zoom link tomorrow at 5. And so a few people in my audience tried that. They got the virtual appointment. And then they came back to me and they said, hey, I got the virtual appointment, now what? And so that reinforced the behavior of them coming back because the knowledge I was giving was working. And that's what you want to do. You want to give people quick tips to success. They want fast results. So here's just some examples of direct messages I've received. So someone had an interest in opening their own solar brokerage. He said, your content has helped me a lot, feeling more confident as a solar consultant. You're an inspiration, and I want to develop my own online brokerage as well. I'd pay you for your time just to pick your brain and chat. Let me know if that's possible. So I actually don't sell consulting. I keep my time very limited to my team, but I'm going to show him how he can open up his own virtual brokerage. Virtual selling, so this was kind of a follow-up conversation where he said, just set up my first Zoom close off a door. Thank you, any free advice? And my advice was, don't try to one-call close, focus on building rapport. And then I followed up with him, close the deal. And then under NEM 3.0, so I'm part of CALSA. How many of you guys know what CALSA is, or you're part of CALSA? A few of you. You guys should really hop into that group. It's a ton of knowledge on industry changes. And so we were getting information from CALSA, and as it was coming out, I was creating videos to help notify our audience on what they should look out for. And I started getting tons of messages. And so just responding to those, and what is this all doing? Going back to the idea of behavioral reinforcement. We're creating so much value, and I say we because I do have a team that helps manage my brand, which we'll talk about. We provide so much value that people feel they need to come back to my page to get the next tip, the next industry news. So how to start? So we talked about uniqueness, your values, your contribution. This is the last part of it, which is planning, creating, scheduling, and then scaling. So you have to have a plan. You have to know who your audience is. So when I was in college doing freelance writing, traveling the world and taking photos and writing articles, I was posting on social media, but I didn't really have a plan. I was like, oh, I'm going to post my travels of Bali, and people will follow me because of that. No plan and no results. It wasn't until I still got focused on solar and really created a social media plan for solar. So when we talk about plan, we're going to go into how you can plan and how to identify who your audience is going to be. Create, schedule, and scale. So let's dive into those. So planning, the first thing you have to ask yourself is going to be, who is your audience? Are you trying to market to homeowners? And you can use different platforms for different audiences. But let's say Instagram is my example. I don't market to homeowners on Instagram. I provide education for salespeople. That's my audience. Now, I am mindful that a homeowner can come across my Instagram page because anything you put online is available for anyone. But if you're trying to market to homeowners and you're posting Big Check Fridays, they're probably not going to like that. So make sure you're mindful of who's going to see your pages and where you're marketing those pages. I never recommend you to try to create one page for homeowners and recruiting. They just don't go well together. So just pick your audience and then pick your platform for that audience. So identify your objective and figure out what is your goal. Is your goal to recruit? Is it to sell solar to homeowners? And then you can move on to creating the content. So what type of content can you create that will help you reach that objective? So there's a few different types of content. My favorite is educational. You also have inspirational. You have promotional. So those are just a few of the pieces of content. You also have newsworthy and entertaining. So entertaining is really popular amongst YouTubers, right? They get paid off views and paid ads. And their audience are people who maybe want to fill their boredom. So they're on YouTube looking for things to be entertained by. Well, I'm not funny, and that's not my audience. Like, I'm not going to post entertaining content. And I also don't want to attract people that are trying to fill their boredom. I want to attract the sales pro that's trying to educate themselves, that wants to be a better consultant for their homeowners or be a better leader for their team. So I focus on creating educational content. So pick your niche. Educational, are you going to be inspirational? Are you going to be entertaining? Whatever your goal is, you want to make sure you're crafting content that's going to attract that right audience. And then schedule. So consistency is king. You probably see my stories once, twice, 3 times a week. You have to get in front of the people you're trying to reach. If they don't see you, they're not going to know you. I have a full team that manages when my posts come out, the cadence of how frequently they come out. My contribution to what you see online is the research. So I'm in these CALSA meetings, I'm meeting with government officials to figure out how these laws are going to affect the community, networking with other industries, and I'm crafting ideas on how we can get my message out there. So definitely get a schedule. There's a few tools we'll go over that you can use to schedule your content to remain consistent. So we're going to talk about tools for planning, creating, scheduling, and then scaling. And we're going to talk about AI. How many of you guys have played with AI so far? Some trippy stuff. We're going to talk about it. Okay, so ways to plan through research. So if you decide, hey, I want to do educational, I like that idea, you have to start with researching your industry, whether you're manufacturing, installation, sales, you got to research so you have an idea of what you're going to talk about. So here's 4 different places you can find industry news to create your content. Google Scholar search, you can just go on there, type in a time frame and a keyword, solar, new laws, utility, net energy metering, and it'll come up with new news. In California, they just proposed an income-based utility charge. So that's something that was breaking news. We published it. It created a lot of buzz. And then homeowners obviously are going to take to that as well and want to learn more about that. Also on our website, My Solar Solutions blog, we post industry news every Wednesday, so you can come into there, learn a little bit about what's going on in the industry, reverb it in your own words, and post that to your audience. Again, we mentioned CALSA is a great organization to be a part of if you're not. They have tons of trainings and resources for you so that you can really set yourself apart. And then, of course, podcasts, books, anything that you can do to educate yourself on your industry. Now, ways to create that content. So you've identified your voice, you've identified your audience, you've found ways that you want to reach that audience. Now you have to actually physically create the content, that creative side. And that's not my strength. I do struggle with being creative, so I have a team that helps me with that. But here are a few things that you can do to create the actual content. So 11 Labs is for voiceover generator. You guys have probably seen it on like TikTok or Instagram. It's a voiceover generator. And now you have AI that's being incorporated into that. And then captions. We all know about the talking head with the quotes across the chest. Those videos are very time consuming. When we first started doing that, I had to have my editor sit down, enter in word by word in Adobe. And then, of course, they came out with an app, 2 seconds later. That made it really easy. So you can use captions to get your talking head with the text over your chest. And the benefit of having the captions, guys, is when you're laying in bed or your audience is laying in bed at night, when their phone's on silent, maybe your partner's asleep, they can still hear, quote unquote, what you're saying because they're reading the captions. And that's why the captions were important. It's so that if someone's in a quiet setting, they can still understand the value that you're saying. And then you can repost. So you can repost different pages' content. So you can go to Calsa's page, you can go to SolarCon's page, anyone's page, you can repost that content to get information out there. And then the easiest one is just get on camera, selfie mode, talk a little bit about what you're doing. Give them a sneak peek behind the scenes. Give them a sneak peek of your installation. If you work in manufacturing, show them the process of how something is made. Anything you can do to give someone insight to your personal life. And then ways to schedule. So from the actual app, you can typically go to the scheduling tool and schedule out your content. And this, what I recommend is maybe carving out a couple hours in the beginning of the week and schedule out those posts. So then you've carved out that time block, those posts are going to be released, and you can move on with the next tasks of your agenda. Or hire somebody to do it for you. So I have a really awesome media team. They are somebody that I consider friends. We have a great relationship. They know my values. They know my voice. I trust them to generate our captions on our posts. And if you have that person that you trust to quote unquote speak for you, you can do that as well. That will really help you start to get content out much faster. Now, ways to scale with AI. ChatGPT. If you guys played with this, raise your hand if you've started playing with ChatGPT. Insane. So I come from that journalism background where we were paid to write articles. Okay, you had to do your research, write articles. This could put us all out of business. Okay, what ChatGPT does is basically takes information, you ask it to write you something, and it can put together a whole paragraph or a whole essay. I can only imagine college kids are doing this to write their essays right now. And there's no way to track if it's plagiarized because it's just raw data from the internet. Perplexity AI. How many of you have heard of this one? A couple people. This is like Google on crack. So essentially, when you type something into Google, what happens is it populates articles that you can go into those links and research the answer, right? What this will do is it'll just straight up give you the answer. So, for example, I asked a question, a solar objection. I said, should I wait to get solar because I know better technology is going to come out? You know, we hear this objection all the time. And Perplexity AI said, typically waiting to get solar is not in your best interest because the amount of money you'll spend and the time you wait for the next best thing will cost you more than if you just get it now and have to replace that panel in the future. And I was like, oh my gosh. So you can literally start educating yourself with these questions and these objections. Now, obviously, get with a mentor if you're new to the industry just to make sure that info's correct, because these are new tools. And these artificial intelligent platforms, they basically search the internet for content that's already out there. So they're going to go into different articles and blogs to find that information to populate your answer. So, for example, on our website, we post industry news. On my Instagram, we post different tips for success. Artificial intelligence is using my company's information as a baseline to provide answers to the community. So if you can get active and start posting content, blogs, articles online, artificial intelligence is going to use, your content as a baseline for answers. And then just collaborating with other people. So, here at SolarCon, I want to meet as many of you as I can. I put you in front of my audience, get in front of your audience. Collaboration is king. So definitely network with other people from other companies, like Jake said, and just build those relationships while you're here. So with that being said, I encourage you guys to follow me. Make sure you check the one with the verified. I do have some trolls right now that we're trying to combat. They've created fake accounts. Go with the verified account. Message me. I'd love to connect with you all. And I hope you guys have an awesome rest of SolarCon.